Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Hello. There we are. There we are, everyone. Evening. Yes, good evening in the UK. Anthony, good to see you. They are doing very well. We are refreshed. We've just come back from our holidays. As the lovely tan, hopefully it comes across on camera. I worked very hard at this tan. Doing nothing but lazing around in the sun for 10 days. But yeah, hope you're all well. Hope you've had a good 10-day break. I've had 10 days. How long has it been since that last one? Nearly 2 weeks, yeah. Nearly two weeks. Of course, since a very eventful Spanish Grand Prix. So, good midnight from Asia. Good to see you, Dark. Good to see you, mate. Welcome, Matt, Mark, JR. Usual faces. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome. Why is the chat not working right at this moment in time? Come on. Chop, chop. We're just waiting for the live timing to become available to us. But, yes. How is the missus? Yeah, she's doing very well, thank you, Mark. Yeah, as is the little one as well, who's currently being fed, looking at me right now and smiling at me. Yes. Don't you cry when your food is all finished, because everyone's going to hear you. There we are. Hey, Taco, good to see you, mate. Q-Storm, good to see you as well. Driving and listening. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for listening to me on the move. Be safe. Be safe. Hey, Ann. Right, yes, live data is just becoming available to us. Let's get the track map up. Is that what? Oh my god, the track map always looks a bit funky here, doesn't it? Let's see if that lays out correctly for us. Cool. I think we are good to rock and roll here. There we go. There we go. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Do I think Max will be banned from the next race? Well, of course, all the talk's been about Max, understandably, since what happened last time around in Spain. No, I don't think the FIA will have... Unless he does something absolutely outright egregious, I don't think they're going to issue him a penalty. So if you don't know how the penalty point system works, you have 12 points. There are certain infringements that get you 1 penalty point. There are certain infringements that get you more, just like the one that he had in Spain. And, well, those run out after a certain period of time. So they only stay on your license for a certain duration, and then they are removed. Now, Max has 2 penalty points being removed after Austria, which means he can still pick up penalty points in Silverstone, I think it is, and then head to Zandvoort with, well, yeah, could potentially end up getting a race ban for Zandvoort, but I don't think it's going to happen. No, I don't think so. Hey, Nate, good to see you, mate. Am I watching Le Mans? I'll be keeping an eye on it, Nate. Yes, I will be. I'm not going to watch it from start to finish, of course. Someone did ask me, I don't know if it was yourself actually, who asked me if I'll be doing a watch-along for it. It's something I have thought about, however, it's just a bit too time-consuming, understandably. It's my first Father's Day this weekend, so got some plans around F1. So, yeah, focusing on that. Did I enjoy burning? It was nice. Yeah, it was nice. Nice to... Well, I did nothing. Of course, it was our first holiday with as a free, rather than just the two of us. So, yeah, had to... Not as much lazing around. I had to keep my eyes peeled and on little one to make sure she didn't do anything silly. But thankfully, yeah, we all made it back in one piece. Will RB ruin Hadjar? RB won't. Red Bull may do. We've spoken about Hadjar before. Welcome everyone if you're just tuning in. We have spoken about Hadjar previously on the stream, so he has even said it himself that he doesn't want to move to Red Bull at the moment. He just wants to continue building the confidence that he's got and the trajectory that he has for this season, which I totally agree with. And the thing is that next season, 2026, may be the best time for him to join Red Bull because it's a fresh slate, for the team. It's a brand new set of regs, brand new engine. It's not going to be completely built around Max. So it could be the best time to go into Red Bull. Or the worst time, because the car may be absolutely terrible. But yeah, from just your own perspective and going against Max, next season is the best chance to do that rather than now. So you missed F1 the past week, but this break was needed. It was, yeah, it's nice. It makes you, I think the breaks definitely make you realise how much you like F1. We do need them. It's great to have a triple header, but then at the end of a triple header, I am a little bit like, oof, I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot of time that are committed to. I said so many 24-hour events this month. Sleep schedule is in shambles. But good evening, Mike. Good to see you. Welcome, everyone. They did everything they could not to ban K-Mag. That's very true as well. Yeah, so they're definitely not going to ban Max Verstappen, who is very, very influential to the turnout at Zandvoort. If Max gets banned for Zandvoort, what do you think the turnout is going to be? It's going to be very, very low. There we go. I wanted that there. Do I think there'll be a team that dominates the first couple of years of 2026 regs? So it's a very high percentage chance that, yes, someone will do. If you look at all the other, throughout the history of when regulation changes have come around, one team always gets it better than everyone else. And there is always a level of dominance, but the level of dominance has lasted longer than others. So hopefully not. Hopefully we get at least 2 teams that get it right from the outset. But yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to regulation changes, that is normally the case. Who's going to be the first driver in the World Champions, Matt? Lance Stroll. Yes, Lance Stroll has returned, everyone. Woo! He's sorry, Lance Stroll fans. I know there's a few of you that exist out there. He is back. Supposedly, he has done some testing in relation in between this week or something. He's done some. I don't know what he did testing in, but he did some driving, I think. Where did I see? In France? I think it was in France. At Circuit Paul Ricard to make sure that he's... basically to make sure that his wrist was in a suitable condition. But I don't know. I mean, he must... I still think he must be probably... He must be on a considerable amount of painkillers, I think. For him to have a surgery and then be okay... like to go into an F1 car. I mean, I know obviously they're very good in relation to like power steering and so forth now, but still the amount of force that you have to exert onto your wrists is I don't think is suitable after you've had whatever form of surgery on your wrist 2 weeks later. So hey, it's really good to see you. Yeah, let's hope for a good weekend. Happy early Father's Day. I know, thank you, Frenty. Lance Stroll hate is so forced. It's not hated. It's not, hated? It's not forced, no. The reason why I don't particularly like Lance Stroll, Ted, is that he is taking up... We already know that there's only 20 seats on F1 in an F1 grid. It is very, very difficult to get good, talented drivers come through. The whole thing beforehand of... Or the whole adage of, oh, it's the 20 best drivers on the grid. No, it isn't. It's definitely not the 20 best drivers in the world on the grid in F1. It's mostly whoever has the most money. And in Lance Stroll's case, he is the most... What's the right word? Fortunate, that's it. He's the most fortunate driver in F1 history because no driver in the history of the sport has had a team bought for them by a parent. And he... in any other team, without the money, would not have lasted as long as some other drivers. He would have lasted 2 seasons, probably max. That's it. And that's why he's basically taken up a seat for someone who'd be more benefited a bit. Drogovic is an example. Felipe Drogovic. So he's never going to get a look in. Can Sky Sports stop with the Max Russell ding dong? It's getting too much. Well, it's the one thing that they have. It was the biggest talking point, wasn't it, of last week, of the last race. So I get why they're talking about it, but it's only interesting to see now that they're only willing to come off the fence and actually say that what Max did was on purpose, rather than rather than sit there and go, oh, maybe George turned in a bit too early, or actually, no, he wasn't trying to do that. Obviously, at the time, I thought maybe there was a miscommunication, potentially. I was trying to think of all the scenarios that maybe led of what happened with that. But no, he definitely did just drive straight into the side of him. So, Morning Moon, any opinions on Daniel Ricciardo coming back? No, I think his time is done. Even with Caddy, I think Daniel Ricciardo's time is done. I think even he doesn't want to really be there, so be back in F1. Ian Markey, in your opinion, Ted, he is not anywhere as bad as people say, but you see my point. That's fair enough. I think we've definitely had worse, yes, but I do think that it's more so the case of that no one's ever been given that much time in F1 before for such lack of performances. I mean, he's got the most Q1 knockouts for a reason, and you look at his teammates, he's never really had a good record against his teammates unless it's like, was it like Sorokin? Was it Sorokin he came up against one time? I can't remember who his very poor teammate was in Williams one year. Who's my pick for the fastest team this weekend, Matt? Well, I don't think you could look past McLaren, understandably. Its track temp is a little bit hotter than I was expecting at the moment. It's 40 degrees. So normally we expect a bit cooler track temps in Canada. But yeah, unless we get wet weather conditions, which I think last time I checked, what was the wet weather conditions? Oh, let's have a look at those, shall we? Montreal weather. I think there was weather. The weather is it's moving away. So it seems like the wet weather was initially Sunday, then it moved to Monday, now it moves to Tuesday. So it's not looking great for increment weather. But I think you can't look past the McLarens, to be honest with you. They're just too good at the moment, especially on their tyres at any circuit. So, hey, Camo, good to see, mates. Hasn't Stroll beaten Alonso a few times this season? Well, he on paper, yes, he has, Steve-O. But Alonso has out-qualified Stroll every time, I think. I think the only time he's been out-qualified by Stroll this season has been the sprint race, the sprint quali in China. And then every single full race quali, he's out-qualified him. He's been outperforming him, and he's always been ahead of him in the races. But Alonso has had, of course, poor strategy decisions. He's had an engine blowout in Monaco. He's had brake failure in China. Alonso should have considerably more points than Lance Stroll at this moment in time. Of course, the big one is Australia, where that was driver error, where he ran too far over the curb there and crashed. But point still stands. He has comfortably outperformed Lance Stroll this season. Stroll hasn't performed contrary to what it looks like on paper. He hasn't outperformed Fernando Alonso. 40 degrees is really hot. Well, it's only 16.5 air temperature. But I'm looking at the TV coverage. The air temperature isn't anything to shout home about in Montreal right now. It's what you expect. But 40-degree track temperature is a lot. And that's because it's blue skies at the moment in Montreal. So if the sun does go behind the clouds, if we do get maybe an overcast or cloudy conditions over the next few days, we could see that track temperature drop dramatically. And that will play a big role into the tyres for strategy for this weekend. And, well, we have the C6 has reappeared, guys. The C6 has reappeared. So one step softer than last year. We saw the C6, of course, in Monaco. Nothing really to shout home about there at Monaco. But Imola, it really did provide an interesting strategy. So hopefully, where Canada, if there's no rain, it can be a bit of a boring one-stop. We're hoping that we see the same again like we did in Imola. So not too long to go until we find out, of course, what the kind of first look at the pecking order is going to be like. Of course, a few rookies here coming here for the first time as well. So not long till this race weekend gets underway, guys. I don't know why people make these kinds of instances into huge matters. Even George and Sky Sport tried to involve the kids when this is a sport where crashes are inevitable. What do you mean, the incident with George and Max? The reason it's been made such a big thing out of is because Max used his weapon. Max used his car arguably as a weapon. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, he drove intentionally into another driver. That's the biggest no-no in motorsport. You can't use your car as a weapon. And yeah, you should have had the rule book thrown at him, but they kind of copped out with a 10-second time penalty. Hey, Ollie, good to see you, mates. Hope I had a good couple of weeks. Yes, yeah, we had a good couple of weeks. So, landed last night, and I'm ready for F1. I'm not completely up to date with all the news, but I am kind of it. Yeah, she's good. She's been fed. She's in her higher chair. You want to see Stuffey Jr.? No, not yet. Not yet. Hello. Everyone wants to see you. She's very full and happy. But here we go. Green light. Pit exit is open. Here we go. The session has got underway. Whoop, whoop. Here we go. Here we go. I do like Montreal. It's a Circuit Villeneuve. It is a good track. We have had good races here in the past. So, yeah. Was it intentional, or did he try to get the position back to Russell and quickly? No. Completely disagree with that assessment that I have seen from people. No. You can see the telemetry that Max even looks at George to his right, and then he puts his foot on the throttle to move his car towards George. So, yeah, he has intentionally driven into the side of him. Very fortunate that they didn't make... that there wasn't more damage. So, but anywho, that's from 2 weeks ago. Let's see what we have in store for this weekend. So, yes, McLaren, Oscar Piastri extended his championship lead last time out in a very dominant display in Barcelona. Lando will be hoping to get on top of Oscar Piastri here this weekend. Of course, World Champions, need to keep an eye on the World Champions here. Need to attack the curbs at Montreal as well with a few chicanes. So turns 3 and 4, turns 6 and 7, and of course turn 8 and 9. So yeah, if you're not good over the curbs here, then you're going to suffer. How about Leclerc pushing Max off deliberately? Yeah, we reviewed that as well when he obviously was trying to squeeze Max, and he was fortunate that there wasn't a crash there. Leclerc was at fault, but because they continued, they obviously didn't give it. They put it down kind of to a racing incident. But if there was a crash, Charles Leclerc would 100% been at fault. It didn't affect the fact that it was a bump, but people over-exaggerated like it was a full-on murder case. Yeah, I mean, the matter of the fact is that it should have been... It's the biggest no-no in motorsports. End of. Like, you go go-karting, you do what Max did, they'll pull you off the circuit. You can't do that. And especially when you're in the fastest motorsport series in the world... Oh, it's already a yellow! Colapinto, oh no! Colapinto has gone off at turn 2. Oh, has he binned it already? Colapinto, the Argentinian. It's not been a good start to, of course, he's returned to F1. And there's a double yellow, which means, of course, you have to go very slow. There's still no safety car, and Colapinto has got going again. What has occurred there for the Argentinian driver? Has he spun it? Has he just lit the rears up too quickly? Oh dear, Colapinto, what was you doing? Of course, we saw Yuki Tsunoda bin it out of the pit lane there last time, a few years ago, didn't we? With the tyres not up to temperature. That can be the case here. You just over-egged the exit. Is that what Colapinto did? But it seems like he maybe just lit the rears up. Waiting to see exactly what happens. And the TV coverage is more focused on the actual fans themselves rather than... So yes, Colapinto did indeed just spin the car. Hang on. Watching the replay now. And no, it wasn't out of the pit lane. So he was on a flying lap and went down into turn 2. Oh, very odd. Very odd there. It just seemed that Alpine wasn't really settled. Very odd. Very odd. As Verstappen's going fast, he's in the first and the middle sector. You can almost hear the small violin starting to play, yeah. They've had more to worry about than penalty points at 300 kilometres an hour. Hey, folk, good to see you. Happy Friday, and we can talk. This circuit was quite a short straight away right before turn 1. It is a bit, yeah. I mean, we've got 2 DRS zones here, guys. 3 DRS zones if you're unfamiliar with where they are. So the first one is, of course, down the start-finish straight from the exit of turn 14 down to turn 1. Then we have one from the exit of turn 7 to turn 8. We don't really see a lot of overtakes through turn 7 and turn 8. But it's still there nonetheless. And then, of course, the primary overtaking spot is down into the Wall of Champions from turn 11, or pretty much from turn 12, I think, is where the DRS actually starts down into turn 13. So, yeah, we will see that utilised. Of course, here this weekend, if there is a headwind as well, that will down those straights, that will make DRS more powerful because of drag reduction system. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on, of course, on the wind direction, which is currently a southerly wind at the moment. And as Max is reporting, my steering wheel feels very heavy at the moment. Kind of reminds you how Alonso once spun in Australia. Yeah, it is. You can lose it through turn 2. You can. If you get on the throttle, anyone who's been in the sim as well, if you get on the throttle too early, or if you touch the curb on the entry to turn 1 and the rear is just a bit unsettled, it's a very big change of direction. So the weight shifts a lot from one side to the other when you're going from turn 1 to turn 2. Plus, combined with the fact of have you got your tyres up to temperature. So yeah, with all of those factors, it's very easy to spin the car. But for Colapinto, it's just something else that, of course, he doesn't want on a notch on his belt at the moment, considering how poor of a start it's been a return to Alpine, or to the F1 grid. But at the end of the day, I feel like Colapinto as well need to be a little bit. I think he deserves a little bit of slack to some extent. I still don't believe he deserves slack for Imola, because the number one thing you need to do is just keep it out the barriers. But yeah, he's been 6 months out of F1, jumps back into a car he's done no testing in, and he's expected to do well in 5 races apparently. So Red Bull's losing their sharpness. They actually didn't have to give the place back. Yeah, but we also spoke about this at the time, Sibu. The reason why they decided to give the place back is because they played the percentage game. So as you know, the rule is that it's not down to the stewards to tell drivers to get teams to give the place back. It's down to the teams to make that decision and bank really and gamble on whether or not they want that decision to go to the stewards. Now, Red Bull at the time on the hard compound tyre probably thought it's not worth it. We're going to get overtaken by George probably anyway. Let's give the position back. We're comfortably going to secure P5, I think it was. But that's not in Max's nature, of course. And of course, you look back at it, and yeah, it was in hindsight, it was the wrong decision. But in that moment, I see why Red Bull made that decision. It's the same with Charles Leclerc with Alex Albon as well in Imola. Charles was technically ahead at the apex. He wasn't entitled to give that position back, but rather than gamble on receiving a potential 10-second time penalty and finishing outside of the points, that's what Red Bull decided to do. But then we know it spiraled from then on, and they couldn't foresee, of course, what was going to happen with Max and receiving a 10-second time penalty that they were trying to avoid in the first place. So, anyone know weather predictions for race day? It's currently clear, Nero. Yeah, we did have a check. It is currently clear. As Max Verstappen does go top of the timing screens with a 1:14.478. So let's have a look at what pole position was for last year. I need to check this. It's always fun to see how quick the cars have got, of course. Right, results from last season. No, F1, I do not want to buy a Apex beanie hat, bucket hat. Canada, qualifying from last year, a 1:12.0 was the fastest time last year. Remember that. It was George Russell and Max Verstappen set 1:12.000, but George Russell got pole because he set the lap time first. If that was the other way around, Max would have rushed over to give what for like he has done in the past year. Will Lewis make it to Q3 tomorrow? I think so. I think the Ferraris have got decent enough pace. I mean, they've got enough pace to get into Q3, yes. But they haven't got enough pace to win, have they? Let's be honest. Lots of rumours about them at the moment, of course, with... As Antonelli is asking, yeah, I locked the rear there as he just had a little excursion over to one of the chicanes. As we're starting to see purples left, right and centre. So remember, the soft tyre this weekend is the C6 tyre. So it's a tyre that has never been used at this circuit. So, yeah, we could, with the fact of it, I think they should really be able to keep the C6 tyre in a decent window. We should see, I think, that lap time from last year, that pole position of 1:12, be absolutely smashed. As Lando Norris is making his way down, of course, the back straight there. Has DRS open, so it is a fast lap for him. Well, not into the Water Champions, but through past the Water Champions, which is turn 14. And then he comes across the finish line. And it's a 1:15.0 only. Very slow last sector, to be fair. Got held up. Yeah, big moment for Kimi. Yeah, big moment for Kimi. Oh, actually, I'm just watching Lando there. He had a snap of oversteer on the exit of the hairpin of turn 10. So, Lando there, maybe... is the McLaren susceptible? Is the McLaren susceptible to the C6 tyres and not being able to keep them in a proper window? Of course, that's what we saw in Imola. So that was a big moment. I say big moment. It was just him not being able to control the rears. So, yeah, no grip out there, Taco. That's for sure. But it's also the C6. We saw this in Imola. We saw that McLaren were the only team that were able to really keep that C6 tyre in the right temperature window throughout the lap. Of course, it's still very early days. We know that with their super duper brake cooling system, they were able to, of course, direct the temperatures where they want to with those tyres, into or away from the tyre. As I'm just watching the replay of Lando as he went into turn. Oh yeah, it was just a big wiggle on the rear there. Maybe it's the wind as well. What's the wind at the moment? The wind's up and down, 7.2 kilometers an hour. But Max is improving, 29.837, so that showed you how slow Lando's last lap was, or his last sector was, how much time he lost. As Albon only goes just slower, less than a tenth slower than Verstappen there. Oh, Charles Leclerc with a 1:13.88. So this track is going to ramp up in speed, guys. As we said, last year, 1:12.0 was the pole position time. But I think, was that in wet weather conditions, or was that dry in the end? As Lando said, he locked the rears completely on the entry to the hairpin. Did he? It didn't seem like that on the TV camera. Hey, Primeval! Because of me making jokes about Stroll being the GOAT on here and you saying out loud, my missus won't stop buying your Lance Stroll merch now. Just, look, you've only got yourself to blame. Can I run down, Mick, can I run down my favourites in teammate head-to-heads? My favourite, what, for this weekend? Oh, don't... I mean, I think probably Leclerc and Hamilton. But Hamilton has, of course, this is a Hamilton track, you would say. He's had a lot of success here. One of his favourite tracks. Verstappen, of course, over Yuki. Albon over Sainz, the way it looks at the moment. Actually, where is Sainz? Sainz is out there, P6 at the moment. Although he has gone well here in the past. You should, I guess at the moment, arguably Piastri over Norris. But Piastri, has he got an issue at the moment? Piastri? He's only done a couple of laps. He is still in the pit lane at the moment, so not entirely sure. Let's keep an eye on Lando, though, as George Russell goes P2. And let's see if he's been able to keep that McLaren nice and tight around the hairpin of turn 10. And yes, he did. Yes, he did. A 1:14.1, but still a few tenths off of... There's still a few temps off of Charles Leclerc as Gasly also moves up into P8 at the moment. What team do I think will be first next year? That's the $1 million question. If I knew that, I'd be a very rich man. No, I don't know. I mean, everyone's saying it's rumoured to be Mercedes. It's all going to be dependent on the engine. And I think people were saying Mercedes because... the last team that dominated an engine regulation change was Mercedes, the hybrid change in 2014. But no one knows. No one knows. It could be Ferrari. Ferrari could absolutely nail it with their engine. And it's the Ferrari supply teams. Oh, there's a yellow as Leclerc is potentially off and into the wall of turn 4. That is a chicane. There's no room for error here at the Circuit Villeneuve. And, well, Charles Leclerc has brought out a W. There's a red flag as Charles Leclerc has indeed crashed his red Ferrari into the barriers at turn 4. Oh, no, Charles Leclerc. Top of the timing screens as it currently stands in the very early stages of FP1. And, well, Charles Leclerc has crashed at turn 4. Now, how much damage has occurred in that Ferrari? Of course, on the exit there, it's all concrete. And, oh, he's ruined it. It's ruined it. The rear is bent. The suspension's gone. The front wing is battered. And Charles Leclerc has properly ruined that red Ferrari. The mechanics, grimaces on their face. Not again. Not again, Charles. And, oh, no. What's he done? What's he done? Charles Leclerc, this is what, like... There's big damage, guys. That's big damage indeed. He's left... So the left rear is gone. Basically, the left rear suspension is gone. The left front... I'm interested to see the way he's actually gone into the wall there. So just watching it now. So as he makes his way through turn 2, he's on his way up into turn 3. And has he just taken too much curb? Oh, no, he's locked up. Oh, no. Oh, my God. So he's locked up big time. He's gone straight on into the grass and he's hit the wall on the left-hand side. He's hit the wall here, where my mouse is. He's hit the wall here. He hasn't even hit turn 4. That's why he's... Oh, my goodness. That is very odd. That is very odd from Charles Leclerc. I should have gone straight. Thought I will, but just clipped the wall. Oh, my goodness. So just watching the onboard of Liam Lawson to see, and he sees a big puff of smoke, comes round the corner, and Charles Leclerc is in the barrier. That's I tell you what, that there's no excuse there for Charles. That's a big driver error. That's a big driver error. Not just a lockup, but also so he's saying he should have gone on, as in he should have gone on into the escape road. But yeah, wow. What's very odd there is that he also didn't release the brakes. He held the brakes for a very long time, Charles. So that's why he didn't get a lot of steering angle through the grass. But wow, Charles Leclerc, big error from Charles. Costly one. What Ferrari does to a mentally sane person. Oh, I know. It does seem to be a little bit taco, I do agree. Yeah, that wall does seem to be out a little bit. Of course, it's just an Armco barrier. And I'm looking... Oh, you can see from the overhead shot, actually. No, it is indeed out a lot further. They've got 3 layers. No, almost 4 layers of Armco barrier there. When you see it from the overhead shot. So, not good there for Charles. But still, big error from him. Big error. Seems like he held onto the brakes too... Well, obviously he held onto the brakes too long with the lockup, but he held them on too long as he went into that corner. I feel like he could have released them. There's me giving advice to Charles Leclerc, of course, but this is what we do online, guys. This is what we do. We tell the professionals how badly they do it and what they could have done better. But it does seem like he did hold onto the brakes just a little bit too long. Could have released them a bit earlier, and I think he would have had that front steering angle to move away from it, but hey-ho. Tech Pro. Sorry, Tech Pro, not Armco. Tech Pro. Tech Pro barriers. Apologies. Thank you for correcting me, John. Didn't even need to put the Ferrari shirt on today. No, it's still hanging up. Is Ferrari strategy now they can make the car faster for quali? Well, the good thing, I guess the good thing for them is that if there is never a time to crash, it's on, of course, the Friday morning practice, but that's a bit of work that they've got to do in that Ferrari to get him out for FP2. Maybe they will, but I think the way that he hit the wall there won't do. It was more a straight-on impact or like clipping it, really. So I don't think there'll be any internal damage like battery, engine, gearbox, etc. So it should be fine. That's got to be the first time a car has actually hit that wall in a long time. Yeah, very. Yeah. It does seem to be more barrier protection on that corner this year. It does, doesn't it, John? Yeah. Taco said that already. When you look at it from the overhead shot, there's definitely a lot more there. Something, clearly, that has been raised by the health and safety experts. So... in the meantime, can you show the sector? I can show you the sector timings from what has been, of course, an interrupted FP1 session. If you're just joining us here, guys, Charles Leclerc has crashed. He has crashed at turn 4. Well, technically, it was turn 3. He went into turn 3, locked up, and went straight on over the grass. If you remember where Sebastian Vettel cut the corner that famously that time, all those years ago. And, well, he was too close to the barrier on the left-hand side, or the protection, the Tech Pro protection, which seems to be extended for this season. And because of it, yeah, broke his front left suspension and his left rear suspension as well. But these are sector times thus far. Nothing really to shout home about as the track is evolving right now. It's very green. It hasn't really had much running on it at all. So, yeah, drivers trying to obviously lay down some rubber, and we will see lap times get quicker and quicker. But Norris fastest in the first sector. Russell fastest in the second, only by a couple of hundredths there. Charles Leclerc was fastest in the last sector. He currently is the top of the timing screens, but he won't be, I imagine, by the come the end of this session because of what occurred just there with him bidding it. Piastri did an outlap and then came back. Seb's fight, right, controversial here, Andy. Seb's 5-second time penalty was justified. It was fully justified. Do I think he'll be back in for FP3? He'll be back in for FP3 next year. Tomorrow, sorry. It was totally justified, Taco. How was it not justified? The guy makes a mistake, cuts the corner, comes out ahead of Lewis Hamilton, blocks him off, and then doesn't give the position back. At bare minimum, he should have given the position to Lewis. Like, in iRacing, you get a slowdown. You have to concede the position. You wouldn't be able to hold on to that position. So, yeah, it was all a lot of toys thrown out the pram, really, from Seb. And I like Seb. So. That's because you can't argue with logic, Andy. But yeah, anyway, that was, when was that? 2016? When actually was that? That was 2016, 2017? Oh my God, Gabriel Bortoleto nearly just crashed into the back of Carlos Sainz. Oh, is it Albon? Oh my goodness, that was nearly... My God. Oh, Albon says, I tried to do the right thing there. I tried to give him the racing line. Oh, God. Oh, God. Evening, Foster. Good to see you there. The blocking wasn't intentional, but I can understand. No, the blocking doesn't have to be intentional, but it happened as a result of his mistake, and he has to be punished for his mistake. You can't, as George Russell did, you can't just cut a corner, whether it's intentional or not intentional, and then when you've got someone on your behind, to then keep hold of that position. So you should relinquish that position because you've gained an advantage. But anywho, yeah, that's what happened. 2019 was it? Oh my God, that wasn't that long ago. It was 6 years ago. So yes, it was long ago now. But I thought it was a bit further back than that. But fair enough. But anyway, green light, pit exit open. They've is it yellow? Why is there another yellow? Is there debris in turn 9 now? Have we got a groundhog on the track? There's a yellow flag from turn 9 to turn 10. We didn't see any contact. That's where Alex Albon nearly had his moment with Gabriel Bortoleto, and it's now been removed. So maybe a bit of brief, maybe a groundhog was just running across the track there. Thankfully, we'll have no groundhog-related deaths in this FP1 session. I mean, there is still 36 minutes remaining, guys. But yes. How many people will keep giving Charles excuses? Most protected driver on the grid. I disagree. I don't think he's protected. I think Charles very much warrants the praise that he deserves, but he also, rightfully so, I think he's also received his fair share of criticism for exactly doing stuff like this, like overdriving the car. We haven't actually seen Charles overdrive the car and crash for quite some time, but these moments do remind you that he does have that in his bag to do that on a Friday. So yeah, not too good, but it is on a Friday. I think the last time he did this was Baku last season, where he locked up, broke his suspension, and then he ended up fighting for the race win. So yeah, maybe it could be the same thing again here this weekend. Phantom Yellow. You'll be honest, probably will. Charles is mid. I disagree. There's another yellow. George has just gone slowly. I think George might have just run across the grass there and locked up. We're seeing lots of lockups here, guys, in the early stages of this weekend. Lots of lockups. So George Russell there has just had to go on, I think, at turn 6. So this track, if you're unfamiliar with, obviously, the mechanisms of it, there's not really any high-speed corners. So the only one where the front compound tyres or the front tyres really get temperature in them is basically through turn 1 and then maybe turn 2. So it's all about the rears, looking after the rears. But what that does is that it means your front tyres are cold. So when these drivers are braking into these corners, they're experiencing lots of lockups because they're trying to manage the temperatures in their rear tyres, but then they also aren't able to then, by doing that, get the necessary temperature in the front tyres, which is causing these lockups. So very, very difficult circumstance here. Of course, and we're on a softer compound tyre than we was last year with the C6 as well. So new realm. A new realm for these drivers, and it's going to be very intriguing when it comes to, of course, qualifying and then the race on Sunday as well. Hey, Stefano, good to see you. Welcome, everyone. What's my opinion about Ferrari switching signs for Hamilton? I mean, I've said this before. I think commercially it was the right decision. Whether it was the right driving decision or not, I don't know. Probably not. I mean, as a Hamilton fan, I think it's great to see him there as he goes purple. But no, I mean, if you're looking at it maybe from, okay, we want to drive a partnership that's long-lasting, then Sainz and Leclerc is probably a better partnership because they're younger, ultimately. Whereas Hamilton, of course, I think has just spun the car through turn 10. Or he's locked up. Lewis Hamilton, there wasn't a yellow, speaking of the devil, but he just went fastest, as I did see George Russell had a tank snapper. Was it a lockup? Oh my goodness, yeah, massive snap of oversteer for the mid-corner there. But Lewis Hamilton just backed out of the last sector there, and I think that's because he potentially locked up into turn 10. We will see. He's gone into the pits, so I do presume that as Lando Norris has also had an excursion. We're seeing are these F1 cars, guys, or are these lawnmowers? Are these just very, very expensive lawnmowers? That's what it seems like at the moment, guys, from looking at the TV coverage. Absolutely no grip whatsoever, no. The way the Leclerc fans have slandered and disrespected the Lewis for the last 6 weeks has me out on him and him for life, Ben. Look, do you just have to ignore F1 fans online? Truly. Some of the stuff you see on Twitter is just funny, really, how delusional people are. So we try and keep it real here, as we mentioned, and I think that's why you guys continue to come back. We try and base our assessments and our opinions on logic. I'm not always correct, and it's okay to disagree with me, but yeah, we won't do it purely based out of fantasy and emotion, you know? Hopefully Alonso didn't lose his confidence after I qualified him at Formula V and iRacing. That's what happened, that's why. So just watch it now, and Lewis, oh my goodness, Lewis spun the car into the hairpin. Exactly had the same moment as what Lando Norris had into the hairpin of turn 10, and Lewis Hamilton actually lost the car, the rear of the car, as he went around the hairpin. So yeah, that it's not just the Ferrari, but the drivers are struggling They're struggling with grip through on the entry to turn 10. Is it maybe the wind? Is the wind maybe catching these drivers out through turn 10? Or do they just not have the grip? Very, very bizarre at the moment. Don't often see this with F1. I mean, especially in this iteration of F1 car. So, yeah, the drivers are struggling a lot for grip out there. TC, you get so much abuse each time you compliment Lewis on the YouTube comments. Keep doing it, man. Keep complimenting. I tell you, there's some fan bases out there that are very vocal. They're very vocal. And look, credit where it's due. They back their man and their teams through thick and thin. But that obviously means that they come out with some stuff that isn't true, and they just go with the pardon. So should be able to compliment and criticise whoever you see fit. Of course, as long as it doesn't branch onto that, that doesn't go obviously across that line of hate and so forth, you know, which unfortunately too many do. Hey Rab, can you suggest some reliable and unbiased sources for F1 Twitter? Yes, Chris Medland's. I think The Race is a reliable source now as well. I wouldn't necessarily listen to their opinions so much, because when it comes to opinions, they're still stuck. Ultimately, they can't be as truthful as what we can be or others can be online and that, because they still want to obviously have access to drivers and teams and have paddock passes. But The Race had a lot of Autosport journalists leave when there was a big kind of cull in there. So The Race is very good. Chris Medland. Who else is there? There's a couple of other journos. Yeah. Do I like Montreal to drive on the sim? I do like Montreal. Yeah, it's one of my favourite. I really do like Montreal. Yeah, I think it can provide good races. It doesn't always provide good races, but it can do. Oh, interesting. Carlos Sainz has gone faster on a set of softs. 4-lap old softs in the first sector than George Russell did on a brand new set. George Russell has gone fastest in the middle sector, though. So let's see if Sainz can keep this up. Antonelli's moving out of his way as he heads down into turn 10. It's a 23-4, so no, Sainz has just lost a bit of time there. So this is the thing, this is the interesting thing with the C6. It's like what we saw in Imola. Maybe the teams have to be a bit careful with where they push on this tyre. Do they decide to just hold back a little bit on the tyre in the first sector, and then it comes more alive to them in the last sector, as we are seeing drivers struggle with grip, particularly through turn 10, which is the tightest corner here on the circuit, and that's where you really need that rear traction, which drivers are really struggling with. Or do they try and take more life out of that tyre at the start? But I think we've seen that hasn't worked, as we mentioned, with turn 10 being the last kind of traction zone that you need. So you really want to keep those tyres, those rear tyres, in a nice window to ensure you can launch yourself out of turn 10, because you're going to lose so much time through there down to turn 13 if you don't get that, as Russell did indeed go fast as well, 1:13.5. Hulkenberg nearly lost it at the hairpin, did he? My TV coverage a little bit behind you, Taco. Let me see what he did. Really hoping that Kimi gets a good race this weekend to make up for Europe. Yeah, I mean, personally, he's had some good races, to be fair. I mean, he's been... I say good races. Imola, he wasn't running really that well, was he? But yeah, his performances has been primarily due to the mechanical issues. As watching Nico Hulkenberg scrape the Wall of Champions on the exit. Did he actually hit it? Oh yeah, he actually touched it. Nico Hulkenberg actually touched the Wall of Champions. Oh no, he got very close to it. 4 centimetres, supposedly, is how close he got to it. But definitely looked like he brushed it. Thank you, Miriam. Much appreciated. You can only watch it here, Metal. We're going to see another medium hard race because the soft is too soft. We probably will, yes, but the difference is that it's softer. So I think we could maybe see a 2-stop, of course. Like we saw at Imola. Where we saw at Imola, we was all expecting a 1-stop, but because we're a step softer, it means that hard compound tyre is the medium of last year. So hopefully that is what we'll see here, especially if there's going to be no rain. So Hamilton up to P6 on that set of softs. The ultra, well, I keep calling it the ultra soft, but it's not the ultra soft, is it? How close has Stuffeyy got to an F1 car? I have got up. I've touched an F1 car. Shall I say that? Yeah, I have actually touched an F1 car. So I went to the Mercedes factory. And I got to look inside and not sit inside it, of course, because I'm too big for them. I don't look it, but I'm over 6 foot. Yeah, I got up close to the W11 and the W12. So, yeah, got up close to those. The W13 as well, I actually got up close to. Although I was, like, nearly physically sick when I saw it. And the last Grand Prix you went to in real life was Montreal. Oh, nice. 2012. That's a few years ago now, yeah. Still never been to one. Stuttgart factory and the Milton Keynes one. The Milton Keynes one, yeah. I got to see behind the scenes of what they did. Got to see the control room. Yeah, got to see basically everything of like how they make the F1 car. Everything except the wind tunnel in the simulator is what I didn't get to see. So, which is a shame. Mercedes theoretically has the best update for this race, especially if it gets dusty or wet. Can kind of see a Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes dominance here based purely on upgrades. I still think it's going to be McLaren comfortably. I just think they can manage. They're clearly the best, the most well-balanced car. They're the best across all tracks at the moment. Mercedes, maybe. I think they still need the track temperatures to be a lot cooler. They've even admitted that themselves, that if the track temperatures are still high, then they struggle a bit. Of course, we're still 1.5 seconds off of pole position of last year, so there's still a considerable amount of improvements. So let's stay on board with Max Verstappen, shall we? In P2 at the moment, with a 1:13.8. He's on a brand new set of softs, so let's see if he can push this lap, and let's see if hopefully no one gets in his way. As Albon, oof, I'll tell you what, the Williams look quite nippy, didn't they? They had a poor performance out in Barcelona, but they seem to be quite nippy in the early stages in FP1. Max makes his way through the first sector, of course going through turn 4 there, turn 3 and turn 4, where Charles Leclerc brought out the very early red flag, and it's a 20.3 purple for Max Verstappen in that first sector, as his teammate Yuki does a 1:13.9 at the moment. So Max has pretty clear track ahead of him, so we should be able to see him set a decent lap time here. So Sainz lost a bit of time. Sainz didn't go as quick as he has done through that first sector. See what I said, guys? Whether these drivers are going to back off a little bit in some sectors to ensure that they look after these tyres. As Sainz has gone, then followed it up with a purple. He's actually gone quicker than Max in the middle sector. Only by a tenth, but maybe that is because Max maybe potentially went too hard in that first sector and lit up those rears a bit. But we'll see as Sainz goes fastest, or 1:13.2. Max makes his way through the Wall of Champions to the finish line, and I still expect this to be fastest. It is indeed, but only by 0.08 of a second there. So he lost a bit of time in that middle sector, but recovered it at the end there. But, interesting. Anyone else on a flying lap at the moment? We've got Alonso on a flying lap. We've got Lawson out on mediums at the moment. He was out on mediums. Anyone else? Fernando Alonso. Let's keep an eye on Alonso, shall we? Where can Alonso put his Aston Martin? His teammate Lance Stroll, of course, back from that wrist injury in 17th at the moment. Will he be able to navigate his way through some traffic? Hey Foster, do I think there's anything to the rumours of Fred Vasseur being replaced? I think they're just that. I think they're just rumours. I think there's probably been, no doubt, discussions about Fred Vasseur. I said this myself. I said if they end this year winless, it doesn't matter what sort of year it is. Doesn't matter whether it's all about 2026. Ferrari do not want to win any season winless. The bare minimum for them is to win races. And then, of course, they want to be winning championships. But they want to win Monza. They want to win Monaco. They don't want to end the year winless. And if they do that in this season, then, I mean, Fred Vasseur's head could be on the chopping block, very soon in the early 2026. If that car is very poor from the outset in 2026, I think he's gone. Because his excuse, Fred Vasseur, will be, well, we've focused all development on next year. But we raised the question at the start of the season, why have they changed their concept? Why did they go from a pull rod to a push rod system, a system they haven't used in years, donkey's years? They were the second fastest car, sometimes the fastest car at certain tracks at the end of last year. Pushed McLaren. Why? Everyone kind of expected, well, yes, it's going to be Ferrari pushing McLaren this year, and look where they are. So that decision has to be questioned from the higher-ups. But Ferrari is mismanaged from the top down anyway. That's why they have so many issues. So, yeah, they're just rumours at the moment, but I think it'd be silly to get rid of him right now. But bare minimum is they need to win this year. Otherwise, if like the first two races, they're really slow, he's gone, I think. Track is ramping up as the grip is coming into him. Yeah, it is now. Yeah, it is starting to get quicker and quicker. Of course, you're going to start to see maybe some more lower fuel runs as well. Piastri's out on a brand new set of softs. Keep an eye out on him. Can he go to the top of the timing screens? Norris yet to come out as well. He's only done one long run on a set of softs, 14 laps. Well, yes, technically they have one win, but it's a sprint race, you know. Like they want to win a Grand Prix, don't they? They want to win a Grand Prix. Albon second, Sainz third. Max the Mercedes is definitely confirmed, do you think? I don't know. I mean, I've seen rumours recently about George Russell went to Aston Martin and so forth, but I don't know. I think Mercedes definitely are courting. They definitely are courting Max, aren't they? So that's why Russell's signature hasn't been signed yet. But we'll see. But lots of drivers out there on brand new sets now, so we'll see how they get on and how they handle these. Liam Lawson moves up into P11 there. Right, so who's on a flying lap? Who's on a push lap? Esteban Ocon only goes P17. Yuki's on a bit of a push lap as well, but he's on 9-lap hold soft, so it's not really too much to take consideration there. Who did I see was on our... Piastri. Piastri was the driver we wanted to keep an eye on. But is he going to be able to navigate his way through some traffic? We will see as he makes his way through Turn 3 and Turn 4. So Piastri, of course, going for what would it be? 6th win this season? He's already got 5, isn't he? So is it 5 he's won? I think it is 5 he's won. But his championship lead at the moment is 10 points, if memory serves me correctly. As he does a 20.9 in the first sector. So no, that's a slow first sector for Piastri. Maybe got held up a little bit there, or wasn't just pushing too hard. Hey Marcelo, it's good to see you. Being Italian and a Ferrari fan at the same time is crazy. It hurts so bad. I feel sorry for you. Is what, Kimi starting to go slower now? What, then George Russell? Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be... this year was all a learning curve for Kimi Antonelli. Still, he's only 18 years old. So it's kind of like a freebie year for him. Last year of these set of regs as well. Like, what have he got to lose? Get him involved, get him up to date with the whole F1 show, you know, the F1 circus. He can get familiarised himself with that. And then, Albon and Alonso noted for impeding Turn 2. Oh, dear. Max definitely will go. He looks like he wants to change. His dad definitely wants to change. That's the thing, isn't it? It's not just Max. It's the camp. It's the people in his ear. It's those going like anything that doesn't go well. I imagine there's discussions after every race, you know. But 2026 is such an unknown. No one knows. But there's not a lot of faith in Ford behind the scenes, supposedly. If the rumours are to be believed, and I take rumours with a big pinch of salt in F1 these days. Anthony up into P9, speaking of the devil. Thank you for all the subscriptions, by the way, guys. Much appreciated. We're trying to hit 100 members as well. I do have. I'll tell you what, guys. Don't let me tell you I don't give you anything. Bear with me. Bear with me. I want to see if this works, actually. Oh, yeah. Alonso not happy. Getting sassy on the radio, of course. See if this works. There we go. Welcome, guys, who've been lucky enough to receive a nice membership there. No further investigation. Albon and Alonso impeding. Albon's been a bit of a lucky boy, isn't he? Why is Norris in practicing stars? It's not like he's going to gain anything from the exercise. Ooh! Harsh words, Lafando. Harsh words. Hey Crossbow, what are my predictions this weekend? McLaren 1-2. I'm going boring. I think McLaren 1-2. Hang on. Oh, Max Verstappen just hit the wall, nearly. The World Champions. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I hope it's not a boring race, but I think we could see the McLarens kind of just drive away with it again. To be honest with you, but hopefully I'm proved wrong. No worries, Stevo. Yeah, welcome guys. Welcome to the pit crew. It seems like, but that doesn't update itself when members are given out, which is a shame. I'm guessing I have to do that every time. Yeah, it doesn't update itself. Well, that's annoying, isn't it? I have to update it myself. You're going to go crazy and say Albon P1, Max P2, Russell P3. I still think the Mercedes performance is going to be limited to the track temperatures. It is oddly hot track temperature at Montreal. 43.5 degrees is very hot for Montreal. Normally it's a lot colder than that. So... yeah, we'll see. Hey, Joe, good to see you, mates. Who was the last champion to hit the World Champions? Oh, that's a great question. I don't know, actually. I don't know. Yeah, no, welcome, guys. Welcome, those of you who have joined the pit crew. Ah, no, welcome for joining the pit crew. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you. Do you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm just going to have to update this myself. It's a shame. It's a shame that it doesn't update it. But I think that now brings us to 87? No. 88. 88 members. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The McLarens are with mines the same tyres and they know they're faster. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just interesting now. They were just saying on the Sky TV coverage that they've seen very limited medium compound tyres. So... yeah, like we saw the Aston Martins, could we see the medium compound tyre used in qualifying? That snuck them through to qualifying. Of course, Montreal, it is possible to overtake at Montreal, especially as we mentioned before with the wind direction. If the wind direction is, if it's a headwind down the back straight there, down that whole second half of the track really, from turn 10 all the way to turn 2. Then it is possible for overtakes because it makes DRS more powerful, but we'll see. Ferraris have the fastest pit stops. Yeah, well, they've absolutely smashed the pit stops. You can't fault them for that. You can't fault them for it. Evening, Tits. Friday the 13th, that's why Leclerc crashed. Oh. Yeah, the missus and the little one's doing very well, thank you. Yeah, they're in their playroom at the moment. They're in her playroom at the moment. She's fed. It's probably bedtime for her soon, actually. Norris went off for T1 as well. Did he, Taco? Oh, yeah, watching it now. We're seeing... oh, maybe the McLarens aren't that all supreme here. Maybe they aren't. I mean, I'm not to say that Oscar Piastri, it's practice. Seeing the fastest lap time is... seeing yourself at the top of the standings in any practice session is a bit of an ego thing. It doesn't mean diddly squat, really. Of course, if you have specific run plans and specific data points that you're trying to gather. But we have seen... the McLarens always be towards the top or top the practice sessions. And for none of them to be up there at the moment and to see Norris have a few excursions. I haven't seen too much of Piastri, to be honest with you, so I can't comment on whether or not he's had any excursions. But we've seen many a driver have them. So, yeah, very expensive lawnmowers out there this weekend, guys. I said 88, then you repeat us. Sebastian Vettel, 2011, last champion to hit the World Champions. Wow, that's a stat. That is a stat. I'll be nicking that one for this weekend. Feels like all the drivers are a bit rusty right now. It's not that they're rusty. It's just the fact that this track is very green, so it hasn't had a lot of running on it, hasn't had a lot of rubber laid down, so the grip is very low. But the winds, maybe the wind's catching them out, the wind direction. I don't know where Southwest is coming from in relation to this. I don't know how they always lay out these track maps. If this is always north, if it's a simple compass of north, east, southwest. But it could be catching them out when they're going under braking into turn 10. But as I said before, I think it's primarily down to the compounds of tyres. I think Montreal's a unique circuit where it's primarily about the rear temperature. The rear tyres that you're having to look after, and you're having to look after the thermal degradation. So you're trying to limit the amount of heat that you get into those rear tyres. Now, what that does, though, is that because there's no high-speed, fast corners, you've got very little areas to heat up your front tyres. So you're trying to look after the rear tyres and keep the temperatures down, but at the same time, you still need to push out the corners because you need to try and get as much temperature in those fronts as you can, and in those brakes to ensure that obviously you don't lock up. That's what we're starting to see. We're starting to see a lot of lockups. We're starting to see drivers on the softer compound tyre this year, a step softer on the C6, find that balance, and it's going to make it interesting for us viewers. That's all I'm going to say. Hey, Spice, good to see you. BSJ, good to see you. Are they done with performance runs now? Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. We have 10 minutes left. There may be someone who decides to. Why is Norris doing FlowViz runs if he has the old wing? Good point. I haven't seen that. Have they got any other parts? Piastri's also got FlowViz on his rear wing as well. They're obviously trying to gather data, like-for-like data, I presume, at the same circuit. So, if Piastri's got the new wing on and Norris has got the old wing on, they want them to run some laps in the same conditions, at the same circuit, to get comparative data, rather than getting comparative data from Barcelona, where there's different humidity, different track temperature, different winds, air temperature, etc. Can a Formula 1 car hypothetically take off with modifications, of course? No. Need a turbine engine for that, and some wings. No, not with. They're designed to stick to the ground. They're not designed to lift off. So, as I was just watching Oscar Piastri, he's on board at the moment as he went for a chicane, and I think it's just going to see a micro lock up there from him, and then a snap of oversteer. So yeah, they're just struggling. What it is that they're struggling for front temperature. I think that's really what they're struggling for at the moment. Hey Josh, when does FP2 start? It starts in a couple of hours' time. I'll be setting the stream up after this, so do not fear. Do not fear. You love reading the comments. Well, that's the great thing about these watch-alongs, Foster, is that we've got this community feel. Practice can be a bit boring, you know, if you're just watching it on TV. It can be boring, can't it, really, guys? So, failing to follow Race Directions instructions, escape road instructions, Lando Norris. Ooh, interesting there. That was probably turn 13 and 14. Or maybe it was turn 1. Probably turn 1, actually. Yeah. We have this back and forwards. We have this community feel, don't we? We're able to, whether you're getting involved in the chat or whether you just got me on in the background, that's absolutely fine. It's much better than, shall we say, just watching them go around and drive laps, not racing. So that's how I treat these practice sessions. It's just a chilled session, guys. Chilled watch along, you know. I'm sure you can get actual airtime if you run today's cars on the Nürburgring. Yeah, with a bit of help with some bumps. Is it possible that McLaren's new upgrades will not benefit them but slow them down? There is always that possibility, Mohammed. Yeah, there is. Upgrades aren't upgrades unless they actually have they actually improve the car. So a good way to treat them is updates. They're updates, but if they don't work, then they're downgrades. So yeah, there's always that potential, which is obviously why they're trying at the moment to ascertain, okay, is the new front wing, as we saw in the simulator and the wind tunnel and all our calculations in the real world, does it actually work compared to the wing we've currently got? And is it worth it? So, and sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's the case that actually it hasn't improved the car. So no further investigation for Lando Norris there. So yeah, sometimes it could be, yeah, or actually what it's doing, it does slightly improve our top speed, but actually it's providing more instability, and here, it's not worth the trade-off, etc. So, if Sainz wins this weekend, you'll propose to your crush. I think you're safe, to be honest with you. I think you're safe. As Lando's just gone fastest in the middle sector as we're approaching the end of this FP1 session, guys. Yeah, no, look, we are still a full second and more from pole position of last year. Don't expect Carlos Sainz to be, or the Williams to get on pole. But look, these C6 tyres, strange things. We could see strange things occurring with the management when it comes to qualifying on tomorrow evening, sorry. Who wants to see a South African GP? I'd like to see one, but I'd like to see it a proper race circuit like Kyalami, rather than a newly made street circuit or like temporary circuit. Take it to a track that already exists, you know. Turn 10 is roughly north. Okay. So if turn 10 is roughly north and we flip that, then it's a tailwind. It's almost a tailwind, isn't it, into turn 10 then? So that would make braking potentially difficult into that corner. It was south for a brief while, I think, in this session. So, what engineers would tell driver to hit? Am I watching Le Mans, Indy, or anything else this weekend? I will be watching Le Mans. Yeah, I'm also watching the US Open Golf as well. I've got a few cheeky little bets on. So, yeah, I always watch the majors. So, yeah, I'll be watching those. I'll be watching the start of Le Mans, and then I'll be tuning in ever now and then. I get a bit bored with 24-hour races, especially Le Mans with how they are so... The problem with Le Mans is that it's just safety car, safety car, safety car. They had, like... I get it, obviously. They're very... want to be very safety conscious, but... Yeah, the amount of safety cars that they have, or safety car periods they had last year, it was very... Yeah... Praise the V8. Yeah. Am I going to stream Le Mans? No, I won't be streaming Le Mans, Mohammed. No, I've got... So it's my first Father's Day this weekend as a father. So, yeah, I am going around seeing family and so forth this weekend. Yeah, so I'm busy with that around F1. Watch at 4 a.m. for the goofy commentary. Yeah. I mean, a 24-hour race, you kind of have to dip in and out of it, really. It's not really something you can watch from start to finish. Because there's only... the way participating in endurance racing is very enjoyable, speaking from my experience in sim racing. But when it comes to an actual viewing experience, like, your battles kind of come... You check in and out. Because you come in to see the gaps, and it's not something that you really watch from start to finish. There's your moments that you obviously choose to watch, so... Oh, congrats, Yaya. Yeah, I mean, if I don't get one, I'll be very disappointed. Why are they making more street circuits? Like, street circuits are so boring, they should remove the old good classic circuits. Money. Because the street circuits and the promoters and the... Look, F1 has always been a destination sport. It's always been a lucrative sport. And having like thankfully Vegas has provided us, of course, 2 decent races, but we were all very wary and concerned that it wasn't going to provide us good racing, rightfully so. And the reason why we've gone there is because of the money and because of the backdrop, and that's what F1 wants. F1 wants the backdrops. It wants those photographs, that imagery, to showcase the sport. So. The laps right now don't matter too much. No, the drivers, everyone's pretty much going to be out on track right now as we come to the closing stages of this FP1 session. Max Verstappen fastest, closely followed by Albon and Sainz. But I would say really it's not too much to read into this from these lap times, other than, of course, Charles Leclerc losing control of his car. But what caused him to lose control of his car is that we have seen a considerable amount of lockups and a lot of drivers taking to the escape roads, taking their Formula 1 cars and changing them into lawnmowers because of this softer compound tyre that we've seen here this weekend, which is the C6. And what we are potentially going to see is some issues and some moments in qualifying, potentially the race on Sunday, which will make it interesting for us fans, because a boring one stop is not what we want to see at Montreal, which unfortunately is what can occur. But yeah, drivers struggling out there with this new compound tyre, with this circuit, with the thermal degradation that they have to manage in the rears, but then they're suffering with the balance of having to keep temperature in the fronts as well at the same time. So, yeah, drivers struggling with that balancing act at the moment. And I'm sure we'll see times improve and a more maybe relative session, as the FP2 session always is for qualifying. But, yeah, it's been an interesting one nonetheless. When did I start watching F1? I started watching F1... I think my first memories of it was when I was like 5. But I didn't properly start watching F1 till, I reckon I was like 9, 10 or something. It was something I always used to watch when I was around my granddad's, my grandparents. My granddad used to be a racing driver. Only like racing kind of regionally and across like the UK. Never like an F1 level and stuff back in like the 60s. And then, 60s. And then that's how I got into it, because I remember hearing Murray Walker. And I think my earliest memories are the 96 championship where Damon Hill won. So I remember the graphics and yeah, because Mika Hakkinen was my favourite driver, so he was like 98. So yeah, 7 to 8 years old was when I really started watching it, I guess. So the thing is, F1 requires massive amounts of money installments from teams as well as the FIA. Such is not the case with sports like cricket or football. They require money, but not as much as F1. Yeah, but they're not exactly short of a few bob. It's the circuits. So here's the reason why, guys, Imola has been removed from the calendar. It's not because it's maybe not had the most exciting races in the past. It's because the fee that Liberty Media want there is too expensive. I think it was 60 million or something. Imola had sold out crowds throughout the whole weekend, and I think they only just about broke even or lost money. And then the money that Liberty Media wants for next season is even more, which they can't. They'd be losing money with a sellout crowd. So I can do without Imola as well, but the main reason why it's gone is because of money. It's not because of the racing, the lack of racing we've had there. So, am I excited about the F1 movie, Tris? I am, you know. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to going to the movies and watching it. And I am going to sit back. I'm going to be nitpicky, of course, but I'm going to try and just enjoy it for what it is. Just a casual viewing experience. And I'm a bit of a film buff and a film geek. I love looking into all like the camera work and the behind the scenes stuff of how films are made. And I'm really intrigued. I really like Top Gun Maverick, the way that was filmed. And this F1 movie is filmed in the same way. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. They lost like 7 million. Oh my God, they lost 7 million. I thought they broke even. So yeah, okay. So even before the costs have gone up, the fees have gone up, they've decided to, yeah. I mean, you can't justify that, can you? You can't justify that. When did Charles put it in the barrier? He put it in the barrier very early on in the first 15 minutes. So yes, guys, that is it. FP1 over and done with as the drivers are making their practice start procedures on the grid. Verstappen tops the timing screens with a 1:13.193. Albon less than a tenth behind, as is Carlos Sainz as well there. The two Williams follow out closely behind them. But, as we mentioned, fastest lap of last year was a 1:12.0 in qualifying. So we're still over a second back from that, but we are on a step softer compound than last season. So technically the medium compound tyre is the soft of last year. We've already seen this C6 in Monaco. Didn't really play too much of a factor there, but at Imola it really did, and we saw some teams really struggling with it, especially to make it last a whole lap. Here Montreal is a very different circuit compared to Imola, as we mentioned. The rear tyres have to be managed because of the thermal degradation that you have here, the temperatures, but then you're having to balance, obviously trying to keep pushing at the right levels to ensure that you still keep enough temperature in your fronts, because there's not really any high-speed corners here to put enough load and energy through those tyres to heat them up. So, yeah, balancing act that a lot of teams and drivers have struggled with. So we'll see how they maybe alter that and they address that heading into FP2, maybe with some setup changes and some driver adjustments in their driving style. George Russell P4, Hamilton P5, Hadjar in P6. I mean, the fact that the two RB cars are in the top 10 there bodes very well for them. Norris in P7. So the McLarens actually were testing out two different rear wings by the looks of it. One new, one old. And they were struggling a little bit as well. Norris had a few excursions. Gasly P9. Leclerc, we mentioned, was top of the timing screens until he put it in the barrier. Big driver error from him, locking up and, going straight on. Sonoda in P11, Alonso P12, Antonelli 13th, Piastri 14th, Stroll 15th, Bortoletto 16th, Behrman 17th, Ocon 18th, Colapinto 19th, and Hulkenberg 20th. There we go. That is it, pretty much. Interesting. I'm intrigued to see how the teams deal with the tyres and the twitchiness that we've seen from these cars on these tyres heading into FP2. So, yeah. Have I tried the Super Formula in the rain? No, I haven't done. I just literally updated my iRacing before I came on here, Taco. I will do, hopefully this evening after FP2. I'll try and give it a go. I'm intrigued to give it a handle, give it a go and get some races in this weekend. Should they be asking the tracks to pay so much? No, I don't think they should do, John. No. I really don't think they should do, but that's the way the world works, I guess. That's why there's no races in Germany. That they went, nah, we're not paying for it. We're not paying for it. So I did a video. I recommend you go and give it a watch, of course, because it's my video. But let me see if I can find it. Hang on. It was when. Oh God, I did this in November of last year. Really. So this was when they announced the rotation of European circuits, and there's a real great statistical graph I got from all of the tracks that pay. Obviously what they pay to Liberty Media. And you can really see, I mean, it's so obvious why they have put Spa on rotation, why they're putting these tracks on rotation. It's because the historic tracks pay the least amount of money, simple as. The Middle Eastern countries pay twice as much. And if they can basically free up space on the calendar for a few more tracks to pay 50 million, then happy days. But then they still keep the historic tracks and they label it as think of it as being like Spa. You're going to look so much more forward to Spa because it's not on the calendar every year. It's like when you look at the Ryder Cup as an example, it comes around once every 2 years, or any other kind of sporting competition that's once every 2 years. It's that special feeling of it. It's not every single year, but yeah, I don't agree with it. But that video pretty much explains it all, and I guess you give it a watch. It's fantastic. Brilliant. Yeah, I saw some of Andrew's stream, a little bit of it, when I was away, Taco. So it does look good. Am I back at 11 p.m? Yes, so let me just check, guys, when the next session is underway. Hang on. When is the next session UK time? 9 p.m. UK time. So no, sorry, that's tomorrow. 10 p.m. UK time. Oh wow, it's a bit later. Yes, I'll be back just before 10 o'clock, guys. UK time. So I'm going to go set the stream up now. I'm going to go have some dinner, and we will be back in a few hours' time. If the money was good, would anyone like to see Valencia back on the grid? No. And then we lost Nürburgring and Hockenheim. I hate the fact that they even consider taking Spa away because of money. I know. I mean, Hockenheim should be on the calendar regardless. I like the Nürburgring. I like to race it on the sim, but I think for modern F1, I don't know. There's not enough. I don't know. I feel like Hockenheim provides more overtaking opportunities than what maybe the Nürburgring does for modern F1. I think the Nürburgring will be better. So, but yeah. That movie about the sim racers who race at Le Mans was much better. Yeah, there's some better racing films out there, but I'm intrigued to see how it gets on. But anyway, guys, thank you as always. Thank you for the members. Thank you for the subs. Much appreciated. Trying to hit 50k, of course, very soon. And we'll be back in a few hours' time for FP2. I'm going to go set the stream up, and be intriguing to see whether these teams are a little bit more balanced and a little bit more stable come FP2, or if we continue to see the struggles that they had in FP1, because that was a very uncharacteristic performance from a lot of teams there. But if we see that in FP2 as well, could bode well for some intrigue coming qualifying tomorrow and the race on Sunday. So yeah, 10 p.m. BST is when, well, I'll be live 15 minutes beforehand. But yes, thank you guys. We'll see you in a few hours' time. Bye.